Today, continuous disruption and an escalating pace of innovation is just business as usual. The pace always quickens, the targets only rise, and managing complexity has become a job unto itself. Fragmented systems put teams out of sync, making it difficult to know what other departments are planning and how those plans might affect the whole. This leads to inefficiency, duplication of effort, and endless data collection in place of bold action. For your organization to thrive, all your lines of business need to work together as one. HR, IT, sales and marketing, operations and supply chain, all joined by finance in a single connected plan. Oracle Cloud EPM provides a single platform that connects finance with all lines of business and operations. Every team still creates and manages their own budgets and forecasts using a flexible set of processes built specifically for planning. But by connecting finance deeply to every line of business, each team gets a holistic understanding of how their piece of the enterprise fits into the whole. And the insights available to the finance team allow them to orchestrate successful outcomes and effortlessly navigate changing business conditions. With Oracle Cloud EPM, your teams get the right talent at the right time, at the right cost. Invest in projects that deliver the best returns and meet customer demand by producing and delivering the right products on time. Because in today's complex world, a connected view across finance and operational plans is the only way to fully align on the business strategy you need to outperform the competition.
Remember the good old days, like before 2020. I remember speaking with fellow finance colleagues, and even more especially when I was the chairman of the American Institute of CPAs, about the pace of change and how client and customer expectations were not only evolving, but moving incredibly fast. In 2020, what we thought was fast was only the beginning of seismic change on every level around the world in the span of just a few weeks, accelerating the non-negotiable need for business change into overdrive. And now there's no going back. In 2019, many of us thought we were prepared. In 2020, we had no choice but to assess the amazing things we were doing and also the opportunities for improvement. In 2021, we're adjusting to the realization that while we may not know what the next normal will be, that we can be prepared. Business as usual is a thing of the past as we get comfortable in a state of never normal. I'm Kimberly Ellison-Taylor, CEO of KET Solutions, and today we are going to uncover the ways that many finance and operations teams are navigating successfully in this new environment of constant innovation and change. I've heard it said, and maybe you have as well, that the future of business has arrived so much sooner than expected, setting new challenges and altering business priorities. Health and safety concerns have dictated now how we work and interact with our customers. The ability to work from anywhere has changed how we lead and, quite frankly, the entire labor market. A clear focus on revenue-generating initiatives has cut non-essential costs to conserve cash. And it seems like every day we're hearing about supply chain disruptions. As the pace at which companies make decisions has accelerated, approaches to enterprise planning have changed as well. It's no longer set it and forget about it. The old school approach of doing quarterly or annual forecasting with manual spreadsheets just isn't good enough in today's environment. To keep pace and remain competitive, we must forecast 24/7 across the entire business. In a recent CFO study, Deloitte found that 56% of CFOs emphasize the need to aggressively pursue operational agility and flexibility. Plans are now made to be changed, refined, and adjusted continuously. It's less about creating the perfect plan and more about refinement and reforecasting. Many organizations run multiple scenarios and plan for contingencies, as well as creating new models and rethinking their strategies and data sources, relying more and more on input from operations and lines of business to help them get through this uncertainty. And this new world, connected enterprise planning isn't just a leading practice, it's a business imperative. Today, we're going to hear more about this new paradigm in planning, from recent research and thought leadership to case studies of how companies are embracing this change and boosting their agility in the process. Recently, Oracle partnered with MIT Technology Review Insights to better understand how organizations worldwide conduct strategic planning, particularly in troubled times. The team surveyed 860 C-suite senior executives and directors around the globe, with roles in finance, human resources, information technology, supply chain, and logistics. Let's listen in as Laura Ruma, Editorial Director, MIT Technology Review Insights, shares the findings from the report.
Hello, I'm Laurel Ruma, Editorial Director of MIT Technology Review's Custom Content Division. I'm excited to be here with you presenting original research which we conducted in partnership with Oracle that explores how organizations around the world conduct strategic planning, particularly in light of the pandemic. The pandemic has forced businesses to reevaluate their strategic enterprise planning. Many have looked from cloud adoption, scenario modeling, connected enterprise planning, and artificial intelligence to recover from the pandemic's disruptions and boost productivity, innovation, and agility. Companies are still coping with residual pandemic challenges, like bringing employees back to the office. McKinsey's flow-to-work operating model emphasizes reskilling in conjunction with three key trends. One, with the increase in automation and digitization, candidates with skills that are high in demand are even more difficult to find. Two, a company must be able to respond quickly to changing and uncertain conditions. And three, flexibility is key. Although challenges do still remain, many organizations haven't yet devised clear strategies to keep up with evolving competition across industries. Companies are adapting to the pandemic landscape that are pursuing greater changes to keep pace with the digital transformation and new consumer habits. However, opportunity abounds for those enterprises that are making greater changes. Consider this. McKinsey also says that of the $600 billion cloud market, 95% of the value will be in business-related functions. Enterprises need to think of cloud adoption as a transition with enormous business value, not just an IT shift. In late 2020, MIT Technology Review Insights, in partnership with Oracle, published a global research survey report called Collaborative Planning in an Uncertain World. Our report was based on survey research and in-depth executive interviews. We surveyed 860 senior executives and directors from across the finance, human resources, IT, supply chain and logistics industries. We had 4 primary takeaways. Successful companies are adopting a connected enterprise planning approach. Technology is seen as a useful aid in planning endeavors. Our third takeaway was that some organizations are more welcoming to technology than others. Most importantly, planning is an all-hands-on-deck effort. Our research showed that 74% of respondents expected connected enterprise planning, which combines financial, operational, and workforce planning with cloud-based Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and prescriptive analytics to improve collaboration and decision-making. As a result of the pandemic, 55% of organizations are accelerating cloud adoption. However, some companies are lagging behind in technology in several ways, from keeping HR and finance data in separate silos to foregoing connected enterprise systems in favor of spreadsheets. All business departments have a part to play in planning for future success, including HR and supply chain. Finance is the glue that bonds them. In our research, 62% of companies perform some type of scenario modeling as part of the planning process to identify, counter, or respond to future uncertainties. We found that one serious challenge to better collaboration and scenario planning is data silos. Company culture, technology, organizational processes, and privacy concerns may limit or discourage data sharing. And that can cause duplicative efforts and installation of data flow. 25% of respondents report that the data needed for enterprise planning is still locked in silos and stored in different formats. Companies have another challenge, though. Spreadsheets. Too often, spreadsheets are pushed beyond their limits. Real-time updates are difficult, and they're vulnerable to errors. 20% of all survey respondents report that their organizations still use manual spreadsheets for general planning and modeling activities. Lastly, tech skills remain a challenge. For people to engage with each other productively and efficiently, everyone needs to level up. In some organizations, the skills perceived as most in demand are data visualization, artificial intelligence and machine learning, and interpersonal skills. It always comes back to people. So, moving forward, to get that flow to work, return to normal, organizations are using multiple types of workforce planning. Many adopt an approach of strategic workforce planning, examining required skills, competencies, and costs. Or they're putting their attention on financial planning, such as headcount costs. Take, for example, Baylor University in Texas. Baylor has 19,000 students, and in the spring of 2020, when the pandemic hit, they were in the middle of moving finance systems to Oracle Cloud ERP. Baylor was able to succeed with their cloud implementation for three primary reasons. One, everyone was at home, and they were forced into new ways of working. The cloud implementation team focused on communicating with the users, training, and understanding their concerns. Teamwork. Before the rollout, finance, IT, and HR were already working closely together. And when you can, you should rely on a little help from your friends. A famous alumni was able to join them on launch day. Baylor released a video promoting the new system featuring Baylor alum Angela Kinsey, who plays the fictional character Angela, who's the head of accounting, in the US version of the television show The Office. Before the pandemic, organizations had looked to cloud computing for cost efficiency and to free up IT resources. But working remotely accelerated cloud adoption. It allowed employees access to critical tools and data that could previously only be accessed with on-site IT personnel. Our survey showed that artificial intelligence and machine learning have gained the trust of large companies worldwide. Specifically, 58% of organizations include AI and machine learning capabilities into their planning systems and processes. This adoption is seen mostly in the Americas and predominantly in the financial services industry, where 96% use AI and machine learning features. We also found that there are 3 common ways for the planning process to be managed, with roughly equal instances of use in the survey. 1, each department uses one common connected platform. 2, finance does the overall planning, asking each department to submit fixed planning templates. And 3, finance owns the planning process, requiring departments to input their plans into the system. Separate financial and HR management systems are a solid example of unnecessary business silos. But the intersection points are important because each HR objective is tied to finance. For example, revenue targets, budgets, employee costs, employee performance. Data needs to be consistent, accessible, and accurate. Strategic initiatives, the ones that define an organization's future, get corporate executives' attention. For example, in the early days of the pandemic, Seguros Monterrey New York Life's HR team developed about 60 alternatives for scenarios to then be able to prioritize what must be done under any circumstance. As we come to a new year and continue to grapple with the effects of the pandemic, organizations must develop their own effective enterprise strategies shaped by the demands of digital transformation and evolving customer needs. By prioritizing cloud adoption and becoming more data mature, organizations can reap benefits from manufacturing to IT to customer experience. The road to recovery from COVID-19 is still evolving, and organizations that embrace uncertainty and look to the future with robust strategies are poised to thrive. Thank you.
Many of us know these challenges that make enterprise planning and scenario modeling more difficult. Data silos, use of spreadsheets, and frequent reskilling. Fortunately, there are cloud solutions that can help. Next, we'll hear from 3 of Oracle's many customers who have adopted a connected planning approach: Kraft Heinz, MTN, and Chipotle. Let's listen in.
We're one of the largest food and beverage companies in the world. We sell products in 40 plus countries. Customers are at the heart of what we do. Understanding our customers, understanding our channels, and understanding where we play absolutely matters. Finance plays a critical role in that space. It's finance that provides the visibility. It's finance that provides the insights. We might be putting ad dollars behind products that aren't that profitable or aren't that loved. It might be an indicator for us to make a change. The business locally, they really understand their local business. They know their brands. They know how their business is performing. But when you take all these brands and you take all these businesses and you look at all these categories across all these countries, it starts to become very difficult. Some of the challenges is just how disparate all the systems are. How do I help centralize, standardize, and improve the business performance? It started with, executive sponsorship. It started with our business leaders understanding that we needed a capability that was global. We needed greater insights. We needed it fast. We didn't want to change too much about how the local businesses ran. We wanted to democratize data, put it in the hands of the users in a way that we never had before. And that's why we took the Oracle Cloud that was working so well for us in North America and expanded on it. One of the things we needed to make sure we could check the box on was integrating with SAP. And that's something that was seamless and that has been working tremendously well. One of the benefits of Cloud EPM was that we can connect it to a lot of those source systems and harmonize the way that we report, harmonize the way that we look at and visualize performance without having to change too much. The biggest improvement was just our speed to consolidate, crunch some of these numbers, understand the business performance. So our month-end close processes have drastically improved. Our forecasting capabilities, our planning capabilities have all improved. Now we had visibility of our entire P&L down to the SKU to really, for the first time, understand how profitable some of our SKUs were. I think having trusted partners in innovation is extremely important. Having trust is everything. Just like our consumers trust us for delivering quality products as we have been doing for over 100 years, we trust Oracle for delivering a product that will work when we need it to.
MTN is a telecommunications company born and bred in South Africa. We also recently moved into the fintech business. I like working for MTN because you can see the difference you make. We've really expanded in a number of key markets, bringing technology to a lot of places that's been traditionally not part of your economic map. We had lots of legacy systems running in all the operations, and there was very limited standardization across the group. And therefore we couldn't really leverage our scale. We had system-based planning and forecasting in some of the larger markets, but we never had a full forecasting and budgeting capability spanning the group. By transitioning to enterprise performance management, the biggest transformation has been linking business with finance, serving as the bridge between our business functions and our finance operations. It was no longer a pure finance solution anymore, but it includes your operations to assist with project planning, capital planning. It assisted dramatically in our human capital management. With connected planning, it's about understanding the drivers moving your business forward. It's been quite simple to adopt. It allows you to focus on the critical areas that makes MTN unique. All of a sudden, your what-if analysis and your more advanced capabilities are a lot easier because you've got the right data in the right format consistently across the group. Standardization doesn't start when you actually start compiling your financials and your financial forecasts. It's actually in your business planning cycle where you have a lot of your asks and projects evaluated, substantiated, so that when we plan the rollout of 5G expansion in a country, we would use the same fixed asset categories and the same coding and the same accounts as you would for capturing the actuals. The planning categories assist us in planning, forecasting, and then committing to the spend that we really need. Machine learning components will continue to grow because it takes away a lot of your manual intervention and your manual data gathering and allows the business to focus more on decision making. We're currently busy with machine learning initiative into our CapEx planning. We obtained the geospatial locations of all of the towers across 5 of our biggest markets, and then you can overlay that with the population density in each of the markets. So that immediately led us into more detailed network planning, but also comparative network planning. You can compare the performance, the cost, and then the benefit in a straightforward manner, utilizing Oracle Cloud solutions.
The most important thing for us was visibility. With the financial planning module, we're very clearly able to see the costs of everything that we're proposing. We wanted to make sure that we could demand plan and supply plan the things that we're moving around the network. That allows our executive leadership team to make the right decisions to help the company grow.
It's fantastic to hear how Kraft Heinz, MTN, and Chipotle are thriving, not just at the larger corporate level, but also from a local operations perspective as well, where they're helping to bring beneficial impact to their communities. Oracle enables your success by helping you to align your planning processes across the organization. But even just as importantly is that they do this internally as well. Drink your own champagne is a model Oracle specializes in. They create products that they test internally, they put it into practice, and they do that before it goes into the market. Oracle knows your pain points because there is a greater scenario of likelihood where they have experienced these pains firsthand themselves. Next up, we'll hear from Oracle's Executive Vice President of Global Finance Business, Evgen Gunnar, and Matt Stirrup, Senior Vice President and Head of FP&A at Oracle. Evgen and Matt are going to take you behind the curtain and provide a glimpse into how Oracle used to plan and how it's being done right now.
Hello everyone, I'm Evgen Gunnar, Global Business Finance, and I'm here today with my colleague Matt Stirrup. We have valuable experiences and lessons we would like to share with you today based on our own adoption of connected planning. Over the past years, our customers have needed speed and agility to constantly adapt, respond, and take advantage of changes and outpace disruption. Oracle has also faced with similar challenges as a company. Today, Matt and I will talk about Oracle's transformation in FP&A and how moving to the cloud has enabled us to have a true connected planning model across the enterprise for all lines of businesses. So, Matt, can you provide a little background on our cloud journey?
Sure. So Oracle as a company has been on a transformation to the cloud over the past few years. In fact, we've moved all of our processes now to the cloud. And finance has been at the front and center of all of those changes. We've talked quite a bit publicly about how we've transformed our close process. We now file and report our earnings to the SEC faster than any other company in the S&P 500. This is really an example of an outcome of our transformation. But fundamentally, we've changed the role of finance within the organization from that of a scorekeeper to a strategic partner. And in FP&A, we're really active partners with the business, helping them with data-driven insight and predictive planning to make better decisions and help growth of the business. So let's dive in and talk more specifically about connected planning and the role that that has played in our transformation. So Evgen, can you take us back in time a few years and describe how planning used to be done at Oracle?
Sure. If I had to choose one word that really drove up our motivation for that change was because we had fragmented approach to our planning model. We used to have a disconnected planning process. We lacked a combined view of plans across financials, operational metrics, supply chain, sales, marketing, workforce, and IT. Plans were managed separately with spreadsheets. That model was not scalable and created delays and constraints. That fragmented system led us to inaccurate forecasts as well, and no ability for continuous rolling forecast. The greatest challenge was we did not have any agility. We couldn't forecast easily with various scenarios or respond to changing business conditions. Now that I have described this wonderful bleak picture from the past, maybe you can share with us what did we do to change that dramatically in our teams?
Yeah, well, I remember those days all too well. But let's turn to brighter news. I'm so happy that our FP&A transformation and our move to connected planning occurred before the pandemic, so we were really prepared for the unexpected. As you know, we're really very active planners at Oracle. In fact, we create 40 forecasts a year based on a 12-month rolling forecast approach. we do multiple budget cycles within the year to create our plan for the future year. And we iterate and amend our long-range plan around 3 times a year. To do this, we use some 2,000 forecasting entities and forecast by geography, by industry, and by line of business. So we have a lot of complexity and need a lot of data in order to perform these activities. All of our planning is operationally integrated, going back to this idea of partnering with the business. So not only do we create financial metric forecasts, but we also plan for a wide range of operational measurements across all of our lines of business. Key to our planning is running on an integrated cloud platform that enables us to pull all of that data from our applications into EPM. We established a single data model used by all of our lines of business to analyze financials, workforce planning, create capital expense plans and projects, and much more. So when the pandemic hit, we were able to look at our balance sheet health and project cash flows quite easily. And we also replaced our one-dimensional long-range plans with multiple multi-dimensional scenario planning to help model our recovery and look at different outcomes. Ifkin, can you share some more about the results and the impact a true connected planning model has had on our finance team?
Yes, definitely. So during the pandemic, actually, we sped our planning cycle times. And since it was all connected and automated, it was no big deal to test multiple scenarios and move to a continuous planning model. With Oracle Cloud EPM, actually, we have reduced our weekly forecast cycle times by 3 days and management reporting by 25%. So for perspective, when you do a forecast every single week and take 3 days out of that, it freed our time and our team's time up for a much more strategic roles and advise their partners in the lines of businesses that they support. And that all points to an operational efficiency. So the team can actually use their time now to do much more strategic activities, looking at, as you said, our cash position, more scenario modeling, risk assessment, as you talked about, and understanding what is happening in this global economy and how we handle all of these interesting trends. And all that supports Oracle's growth trajectory. So to net, what we really gained was a great boost in agility. We now can adapt and change plans on the fly and be fully ready for whatever comes next. We are truly prepared and to address questions that aren't even defined yet. So now that with that in mind, Matt, we've done all of this stuff. Can you share what is next?
This is the really exciting bit, because as you know, we're never really satisfied at Oracle. We continue to change and improve constantly, and it's really part of our culture. And the great thing by moving to the cloud is now we get a regular release of new features and functionality, which really helps us to further transform our processes in ways we never thought possible. So yeah, what are we focusing on next? Well, we're really moving from insight to foresight. We're working with our product management team on adopting new machine learning and data science. For example, predictive forecasting, enabling us to predict, detect, and act on new situations faster. Or IPM Insights, which helps us identify anomalies, trends, and biases in financial and operational data. So really, the future is really exciting, and we continue to push boundaries and embrace planning and forecasting advancements possible through the cloud, and really help our business with predictive data to help them see the path forward. On behalf of Ifkin and myself, thanks for joining our discussion, and we hope you see the value of Oracle Cloud EPM Connected Planning.
It's no secret. I really enjoy how Evgen and Matt are so open and honest about their own journey to a more connected and leading FP&A organization. During this program, we have touched on connected planning at a very high level. But over the next few weeks, I really encourage you to explore more on the topic. You can start by visiting the Oracle Connected Planning resource page. The link can be found at the end of the program. From that page, you can view Laurel's research paper, further details on the 5 key elements that Oracle believes are key to connected planning, discover demos that will dive deeper into this topic, and more. The information is in one place to make it especially easy. I hope you found this program informational and that it jumpstarts your journey to a more connected organization. Thank you very much for your time today. I look forward to seeing you at another Oracle Cloud Virtual Summit.